Good, happy Sunday morning, December 23rd, 2018. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, officials investigate suspicious death in Hillsborough. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
That led police to a home on Old Henniker Road in Hillsborough just before 3 o'clock Saturday morning.
When they arrived, they discovered a deceased adult male at the residence.
The man's name and age are not being released pending notification of the next of kin. As for how he died, that is also a mystery.
The police were out investigating, trying to gather evidence and information about what occurred, and that is an ongoing process.
A process that lasted for much of the day. Members of the State Police Major Crime Unit teamed up with local police to go over the property and search for clues. Neighbors telling News 9 off camera they were surprised to wake up to a scene like this and are heartbroken for the people who live at the home. Investigators are hoping someone in this small neighborhood may have seen or heard something that could lead to answers.
If the public has any information, we're asking them to reach out to the state police and ask to speak with Detective Sergeant William Bright.
By nightfall, the home sat quiet, still wrapped in police tape. And as this investigation continues, officials want to assure those who live nearby they are not in any danger.
At this point, the matter is still under investigation, trying to determine exactly what happened. We don't have any specific information at this point that leads us to believe that the public is at risk due to this incident.
And now an autopsy will determine the cause of death. The Attorney General's office says it expects more information will be released sometime tomorrow. Reporting live here in Hillsborough, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Building is significantly damaged in Lancaster fire. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Investigation is underway into what caused a fire in Lancaster earlier today. That fire started around 1 this afternoon at the former Lancaster Hardware building on Main Street. You see those intense flames there. Officials say that building, as you can imagine, is significantly damaged now. No one was inside at the time as it was being used for storage. Crews say the warmer weather helped as they worked to bring that fire under control.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Swansea family loses everything in overnight fire. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
A Swansea family is now homeless after an early morning fire. Crews were called to a two-family home on Winch Hill Road around 1 o'clock this morning, just a matter of hours ago. The flames quickly spread there, and it took nearly 60 firefighters from 12 communities over an hour to bring the fire under control. 2 adults and a child made it out safely, and no injuries were reported. The cause is under investigation, but that family homeless just days before Christmas now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Open or closed? Here's how national parks services are faring under the shutdown. Let's take a look at the video.
U.S. national parks will remain open, but with a skeleton staff through the current federal government shutdown. According to Reuters, GOP governors in at least 2 states are also working to make sure public restrooms in the parks get cleaned and visitor centers stay open as well. The National Park Service said parks will remain as accessible as possible, in the same way as during a 3-day government shutdown in January 2018. Some conservationists have warned it was safer to shutter the parks entirely, saying it's unrealistic and dangerous to think parks can remain open with only a skeleton crew.
Okay, and there you go on that video. Potential government shutdown likely to extend past Christmas. Let's take a listen to the video.
That midnight deadline has now passed here in Washington, and that means a partial government shutdown is now in effect. The third government shutdown this year. And while there was a flurry of attempts to make negotiations at the last minute, nothing quite came through, and neither side seems willing to budge.
Let's get it done. The shutdown hopefully will not last long.
The Senate.
After a dramatic day, the Senate adjourned Friday night without a deal to avert a government shutdown, but an agreement to keep working.
I hope Senate Democrats will work with the White House on an agreement that can pass both houses of Congress and receive the president's signature.
Lines of communication between key players did reopen in a last-minute effort. Early Friday afternoon, a government shutdown seemed inevitable. Senate Republicans returning to Capitol Hill after a meeting at the White House where the president reiterated he wouldn't budge on his border security demands. Later, the White House sent Vice President Pence, Budget Chief and incoming Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and Advisor Jared Kushner to Capitol Hill to meet first with Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer.
We are willing to continue discussions on those proposals with the leader, the president, the Speaker of the House, and the Leader of the House.
Thursday night, House Republicans furiously worked to pass a stopgap spending bill, extending government funding until February and adding $5.7 billion for a wall. The House also adjourned Friday night, waiting for the next move. The president Friday night putting the shutdown burden on the Senate.
Now it's up to the Senate, and it's really up to the Democrats, because we need their votes.
This partial government shutdown impacts 9 of the 15 cabinet-level departments and a number of agencies. It accounts for about 25% of government funding, and about 420,000 federal workers will be working without pay until the shutdown is over. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And stay with us as we bring you coverage of this government shutdown and how long it will last for. Shelter caring for 36 German Shepherds in animal cruelty case in need of donations. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
This is Freddie, a cheerful, playful dog who loves toys. He's one of 36 German Shepherds being cared for by the New Hampshire SPCA. They've all been at the shelter now for about a year.
They're getting as much as we can provide for them. Obviously, it's not a real home, so.
Last December, 36 German Shepherds were killed in 2 separate fires in Bristol. 9 were rescued. Then weeks later, property owner Jennifer Choate was charged with animal cruelty after 22 German Shepherds were found with no heat or fresh water in her Alexandria barn. One had puppies, bringing the total to 36. She was convicted over the summer, but is appealing. So the dogs are in limbo, and by law can't be adopted until the case is closed.
Money is the biggest thing that we need, because with that we can buy prescription diets that some of these dogs need. We can buy medication.
That's where donors like feednh.org come in. Today, the organization dropped off a check for $5,000.
I'm a huge animal lover. Nicole's a huge animal lover. My wife's a huge animal lover, and it just felt like the right thing to do.
I know they're being well taken care of here, but let's try to get them to get, this story over for them and get them into good, happy homes.
The SPCA is trying to keep up with the day-to-day operations on top of caring for the 36 German Shepherds. They're grateful for any donations, cash, food, or even toys, making life a little easier for dogs like Freddie.
Volunteers are constantly here. We have volunteers that, even if they can't walk them, will sit in the room and read to them.
And if you'd like to make a donation to the shelter, visit this story on WMUR.com. There you'll find a link to help with the care of the dog.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Senate breaks without deal to end shutdown in passes expected to last into next week. Senate at the Capitol adjourned for the holiday Saturday afternoon without finding a way to negotiate an end to the government shutdown over President Donald Trump's demand for billions of dollars for a U.S.-Mexico border wall. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, announced on the floor that the Senate will meet again on Thursday at 4 p.m. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.